Hear, O smith of the heavens, what the poet asks. How does your hammer continue its ringing when no cult carves your name on earth? I inquire because I think you'll listen and understand. For we're alike in the ways that you do real smelting, forging, and welding in greatest risen heat to craft fabulous impressions for which all heaven takes credit, on white clouds drifting far from your skyforge, while we stitch together perceptive words in whatever coherent arrangements we can, to articulate what's felt but rarely described, to make the spoken prayers that console or inspire both non-believers and the faithful, to decorate atmospheres for 10,000 funerals, nuptials, and dedications, but still be seen as so niche a discipline, our incoherence is presumed, and our underground state is considered all part of the plan. And I appreciate having people on the balcony. It helps me visualize that I'm speaking up to the gods. It really gives me something to focus on. I have a habit of writing poetry that makes normal household objects threatening and menacing. I've done it with spoons, knitting needles, and this one has sofa cushions. It's about the ways that the negativity that we can exude at times stays with the things and the people around us. What if I say every pillow into which you let out a stifled scream stores traces of that venom after each primal utterance? And then describe how they, during the dead of night, pass through portals in a sofa's deep abyss to that common subworld where they conduct their congress for hate-saturated cushions, externalizing articulations of what they hold inside, exchanges whose byproducts include tough formations mistaken for popcorn, pressure-formed coinage, and gritty anonymous bits of residual bile, background radiation from big bangs deep beneath our comfort. A vile presence we can only blame on flatulence for so long, before someone or something else gets up off the couch instead of our real selves the next time we stand up. What then? Will that be enough to acknowledge the risks of our darkness, whereby seeing, perchance, we might heal? Or will we commit to a wish for perfection so strong that we ignore our slowly corrupting reflections? All right, so this is a little bit more somber, but as I get older, and I'm not old, but there are people who are quite a bit younger than me, but I meet people who are poets in my 20, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm 33 now, not old, but again, my students think I'm much older than that, probably. Or they perceive 33 as being a lot older. Anyway, I think about the places and communities that we might have known in the past that may no longer exist, and how kind of isolating it can be when you want to express that grief, but the people around you weren't there for that thing or place. And it's called Funeral for a Private Hallucination. Few things feel so isolating as mourning the loss of a space only I remember existing, alone among everyone, unaware of the hidden sanctuary that once offered such care. I might need a fellowship of mental health professionals, excavating neurological doom if I want healing. After viewing another world between light's visible spectrum, internalizing its inner workings, its inherent spirit, and then living to tell of the Ragnarok that engulfed it. In a remaining reality made up mostly of the majority seeing light frequencies normally, who find my rarely told tale of ultraviolet loss too abstract and exotic to feel with any level of relatability. But they never knew its essence well enough to weep as I did, while time and tragedy wiped that place away. So, for some reason, I have no idea why, after working as a public school teacher and with the municipal government as poet laureate for Mississauga, I started writing more and more poetry critical of bureaucracy. No idea why. It just happened. This one, in the vein of the boys, is a bit more of a satirical one, talking about how it would probably go if the government tried to make a superhero. After After burning $3 billion, our government finally built a being with abilities beyond scientific reasoning. The subject who made it gained strange, specific powers for transmuting any liquids bottled into Molotov cocktails. An alchemist changing water into combustible fluids, all containers into breakable glass, all lids into burning wicks, and any kind of bottling plant into a warehouse stockpiling lethally incendiary weapons. Despite that, their super soldier never saw activation because administrative officials couldn't agree on a codename designation. Literalists wanted Captain Molotov. Educated diplomats with extra erudition thought General Midas was a better, more creative moniker for someone whose touch gave purified matter a practical military application. But in the end, it wasn't semantics or capacity for creating eternal flaming agony that sparked the project's cancellation. It was worry over potentially showing the world how to make heat lamps for free and how to turn water into petrol as valuable as what's sold by anyone's geopolitical rivals. I don't know. They're going to stop. I know that well. I can feel it. They're going to abandon me. It will be the silence for a moment, a good few moments. Or it will be mine, the lasting one, that didn't last, that still lasts. It will be I. You must go on. I can't go on. You must go on. I'll go on. You must say words as long as there are any, until they find me, until they say me. Strange pain, strange sin, you must go on. Perhaps it's done already. Perhaps they have said me already. Perhaps they have carried me to the threshold of my story. Before the door that opens on my story, that would surprise me if it opens. It shall be I. It shall be the silence. Where I am, you don't know. In the silence, you never know. You must go on. I can't go on. I'll go on. And the last couple here, and actually, yeah, we'll finish the final two. This one also talks a little bit about isolation, but with a bit more levity. Youth is focusing on avoiding eventual isolation, in sealed chambers, erasing sensory perception. Maturity is accepting how inevitably we head towards our solitude, while wondering what wallpaper will paste over the abyss, as we make our only wish, that relatively few wraiths follow our road to a confined infinity filled with shifting mist. And I'll finish off with this one here. This is another recent one, when I tried to do something a little bit different, and be a bit more literal, a bit more confessional, a bit more realist to an extent. And this one's called All the Prodigal People, and I'll finish with this, mention a couple words, and then be done. Teaching high school enters the realm of watching a Discovery Channel animal show. Fellow students follow classmates holding French fry containers like fish chasing shakers of food flakes across their aquarium's length. I don't hear kind words anymore. I hear preludes to requested favors getting closer. That's why I wait or wince at the first sign of even authentic compliments, where fake remarks imitate reality so well I can't escape suspecting any decent display of only being made from masterfully painted paper mache. Getting my license to drive became more akin to an occult seance, with old departed voices suddenly phoning in feigned friendship out of nowhere for rides to wherever, dressing up functional desire as real expressions of care. If we're gonna fight, I'd rather enter a feud with some integrity. Hate me, declare me your enemy. Let distaste fuel your creativity. Let's start an Apollo Creed rocky rivalry, almost friendly. I've heard your opponents define you, and I'll accept those parameters as long as I know where they are. But holding out one hand while raising the other's middle finger makes me doubt the glitching ground on which I stand. Do I, in my best Danny DeVito, scream, "Ha! So you come crawling back," when the company that cut me off from a dream deems my unpleasant heat just what they need to thaw their nightmare's frozen center? I'd like that. But luckily, a lack of faith in self-stability lifts my belief in an outside angel of better nature, urging a bigger person to emerge from within me. Sometimes it seems that the narrow, relative difference between being compassionate and laying down as a doormat only lies in your perspective on what sacrifice really is. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you for everyone who knows me who came out or is just here for any other reason. Thank you so much.